kidding me?
How's it going, everybody? It is episode 9 of the Deadboy Lounge. I hope everyone's been having an awesome weekend. Sorry we're a few days behind. Like I was saying before, that's a little bit my fault.
A lot of it mine too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know what was going on last week, man. It just seemed like so much shit was happening. And then I wake up one morning, I'm like, oh, hey, I really can't walk all that great.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to watch the movie at 2 times the speed. That's
Why?
the only way I had time to watch it.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, dude, my week has been crazy.
Wow.
This girl like no call, no show twice at work, and oh god.
Do they still have a job?
I fucking hope not. Well, I kind of hope so, but like
at the same time.
Like I would never want someone to lose their job, but fuck you.
Right. I can sympathize with that greatly.
Yeah.
That's that's unprofessional. And like, anyway, we're not going to get into all that tonight. So yeah, hope everyone's been having an awesome weekend. This is another new watch for me. And I've noticed that when we do the movies that like I'm watching for the very first time ever, I really enjoy doing it the day of the recording because I feel like my reaction is much more genuine and like more fresh. It's more of a fresh take.
Right.
So I watched it today and I'm ready. I'm ready for this one.
Dude, listen, Blumhouse.
Yeah.
If Blumhouse had a dick, I might touch it. I'm serious. I would consider touching that.
I prefer that more than the baby kicking story.
Like, you know,
made for a great clip.
It did. What did that baby do?
What did that baby do?
Fucking baby.
Well, hey man, do you want to go ahead and lead us into our first news story for tonight?
Listen, Linda.
Yes, Bob.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Bobby. God bless. So yeah, this one is about the horror comedy Useless Humans, set to release on July 14th. I'm super excited that movies are about to make their way back. Oh my god.
Yeah, man. It's about time.
Yeah. I wish I could make this website dark mode. Can I?
You know what I ended up doing? I just turned the brightness on my monitor all the way down. Can you really?
I have an extension called Dark Knight.
Is that a Chrome extension?
Firefox.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll have to get that one. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Useless Humans, directed by Stephen Ohl, starring Josh Zuckerman, Rushi Kota. Did I say that right?
Sure.
DeVito Williams, Luke Youngblood, and others. Quiver Distribution will release the film July 14th, where a 30th birthday and the fate of humanity are left hanging in the balance when a ruthless alien crashes the party, forcing these 4 friends to save the world. Catch the trailer on horrornews.net, and we'll put the link in the chat.
Yep, I am highlighting it as we speak. Copy, paste. Ailtor 360. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for being here.
Hi, how you doing?
We're happy to have you.
I read that as gem, not germ. Sad boy hours.
Yeah, there's a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, moving into our next story for our news segment. Original documentary, Cleaning Up the Town, Remembering Ghostbusters, hits Crackle on June 18th. When's the last time you heard about Crackle doing anything?
Dude. Like once Roku stopped recommending Crackle to me, I was like, okay, so we're good. Like it's done.
Right. Like I don't need this in my life anymore. Right. And now here comes, something like this coming around and they're doing something over there. Crackle Plus, a chicken soup for the soul entertainment company. Hold up. They have their own entertainment company?
Chicken soup for the soul?
Wasn't that like book of poems from like back in junior high?
The chicken noodle soup for the...
But it was those soup for the soul series, right? Like there was a whole bunch of them.
Listen, I remember reading scary stories to tell in the dark and shit like that. And
that was about it, right?
And I read like Cirque du Freak, and that's about all I read in school. Swear to God.
I swear, like every 14-year-old in my English class had a copy of Chicken Something Soup for the Soul. There was like this book of poems of like moms to their daughters, and it was really sweet. But it just like it was like wildfire. It went everywhere.
It sounds like some shit a Karen would carry in her bag.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. And one of the largest operators of streaming and ad-supported video on demand, otherwise known as AVOD networks, announced the U.S. premiere of its original documentary, Cleaning Up the Town, Remembering Ghostbusters, which launches on June 18th. Now, anyone that has seen maybe any of our past episodes probably knows just I'm the hugest Ghostbusters fan. So I am so stoked for this.
I had no idea.
No idea.
I was taken by surprise.
Directed and produced by brother-sister team Anthony and Claire Bueno, the movie charts the making of the original 1984 Ghostbusters movie with exclusive interviews from over 40 members of the original cast and crew, including director Ivan Reitman, as well as lead cast Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. Looks like Bill Murray still just can't be bothered. The doc, over 10 years in the making, also chronicles the achievements made by the visual effects in a time where digital special effects were still evolving. If you would like to see the full story and a trailer for the documentary, the amazing people over at Dread Central have written up this awesome story. Please do go take a look at it. They do awesome stuff, and we constantly rip off their stories every episode.
Oh my God. So, plagiarize. If you guys remember the last was it the last episode we interviewed the
Ted
game the Dread X
the Dread XP guy.
Yeah.
He's this extension of Dread Central. Like they have a gaming focused journalism page now, Dread XP. And we had the best time talking to Ted about the game. Guy got some
big dick energy. Right
though. He's been through some shit. He has seen some shit, and he is not afraid to tell it. And just it was just an awesome episode. We're going to be editing that one this week. Unfortunately, our editor is swamped with other stuff and is just not able to get to that. So I will be taking over editing duties for this week and hope to have that available online before the weekend. So stay tuned.
But we're still putting like a lot of content on the new YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't subscribed,
I'm almost caught up with what we've got done so far. I think we just need to do episode 7, and then we are lined up with what we have recorded and edited and yada yada yada.
Do you have can you want to drop a link to the YouTube channel in the chat?
Oh,
do that real quick. Anecdote to the story he just read. Bill Murray is one of my favorite actors in all of Hollywood. Not because like I like a lot of his movies, but I would never be like, it's a Bill Murray night, you know? It's because he's just like a wild fucking dude. Oh no, I'm back.
Okay, wait. Hey, okay.
Why can I not?
I don't know. What did you do? Dude?
I don't know. Swear I'm still here. God damn it, Vector, start calling me Timmy.
Timmy, no.
If you didn't know, Bill Murray has a answering machine, like a analog answering machine where producers call him and pitch movies to him for him to like play a part in. And he just picks what he wants to do, dude. How awesome is that?
I gotta say, that's not a bad system. Like that's actually pretty good.
And then there's just like the wild shit he does like on his own. Like he just fucks with people all the time. Like the story about how he walked up to a guy, stole French fries off his plate, and looked at him and was like, "No one's ever gonna believe you." I believe that. I think that Bill Murray did that.
I totally do.
That's a cool.
Yeah, I feel like when he did Zombieland, they told him just read the lines. Don't act. Don't bother with acting.
just respond. Like, give us your best Bill Murray response. I regret nothing. Well, maybe Garfield.
Yeah. Dude, like that did not feel forced at all. Like I really feel like he does regret that movie. But maybe hey,
he had like a mortgage payment or something,
I mean, I wouldn't fault him for it. That's for sure. All right, are you good to get into the movie? Are we ready?
Yeah, let me bring up my nets.
While you're bringing up your nets, I'll run through a quick synopsis. Our movie for this week is a Netflix original that I believe came out like around 2016. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And it's a movie called Hush, where a deaf writer who retreated into the woods to live a solitary life must fight for her life in silence when a masked killer appears in her window. Directed by Mike Flanagan, whose works also include Oculus and Before I Wake, starring John Gallagher Jr., who was in 10 Cloverfield Lane. You should remember him as Emmett. Kate Siegel, who was in The Haunting of Hill House as Theodora Crane, which I have not heard great things about.
My wife loves it, dude.
See, my wife hated it.
Our wives are on such stark contrasts.
They should start a podcast. And also Michael Trucco, who will be in... I had to do a little bit of digging because something just popped out at me when I was putting these together. Michael Trucco played John in this movie, and he is also going to be in the spin-off series Midnight Mass. And this will make more sense as we get through our notes and stuff, but you probably remember what I'm talking about with Midnight Mass.
I vaguely remember.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it's set to be really cool. Flanagan is also at the helm for the spinoff series, so promises to be a honest and true spinoff from this film, and I'm actually pretty stoked for it. So let's just go ahead and get right into this, man. What was your initial feeling for this movie?
So I watched this movie originally when it first came out. At the time I was working third shift. And I like all night, I just had nothing to do but watch fucking Netflix, which was really cool because it was the heyday of like Netflix series and stuff, like when Daredevil was coming out and like all that stuff.
Okay.
And I loved it. I love this movie so much. It's so good.
I gotta admit, man, I'm right there with you as of like earlier this evening.
Yeah. I love it. I love introducing you to horror movies, by the way.
I gotta agree with you because I kind of feel like it gives us a unique direction to go in with this podcast. So I'm all for it. I'm riding along with it, man. I'm along for the ride.
So my notes are pretty all over the place too, like as per usual, I guess.
Yeah. I've come to respect it, actually.
Like literally my first note, and we don't have to jump into notes, but my first note is fuck you, Craig.
My second one on here, on my list, the second one down, Craig do bad?
Craig do bad?
Craig do bad? Like what Craig do? We still, okay, anyway. So as we said in the synopsis, our lead character, whose name is Maddie, suffered from bacterial meningitis at the age of 13, which ended up causing deafness and speech paralysis, which is really hardcore. Like,
yeah,
the vocal cords don't work anymore. Like, she's not just a mute by choice; she's a mute by fucking medical reasons. She can't talk for shit. I had no idea that meningitis actually had that effect on people. Like, I just never did the research or anything like that, and I knew it was a horrible, horrible disease. But fuck,
Dude,
that's
I
crazy.
get meningitis confused with what's that stuff that makes your breath smell bad?
Gingivitis,
Halitosis.
halitosis.
Swear to God. I am a stroke survivor. I don't know, man.
I wanted to go out on a limb for you and just be like, well, they sound the same, but
They don't.
sorry. Sorry, buddy.
Gingivitis would have been a better answer, but it's legit.
I was saying, yeah, because at least they kind of sound. Anyway. Oh, what is this show? Okay. My first one actually was strobe light smoke detectors was actually pretty genius.
Dude, deaf people have all kinds of cool strobe stuff if you didn't know.
Well, it makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. Like, she even explains it in the movie how, like, the sound for this particular smoke alarm, this fire alarm, has to be so loud that she feels the vibrations in her sleep. And I mean, it's a movie, so it's really hard to try to translate just how loud that actually is. But if you can use your imagination, if you've ever been to a concert and stood right up next to the speakers, I imagine it's something like kind of like that.
Or like when a dickhead pulls up with like super bassy music and you're just like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. Like your stomach's rumbling and like the windows on your house are rattling and shit. I'm like, is this necessary in any way?
How'd you get all them speakers in that Honda Civic?
Woo, bass music. Oh, Delta's on board.
Dude, listen, I'm going to send you some stuff. Delta makes music. I'm going to use the music for my stream alerts, by the way.
Ooh, all right. Good. I'm all about it. Hell yeah.
I played one of them and I was like, what's up? Yeah, I'm fucking feeling it. Maddie and Sarah were secretly in love. Okay.
You can make an argument for that.
Apparently there's a term I didn't know about called shipped.
Excuse me?
And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I have no idea.
This is a term that people use when they create like fan fiction relationships for characters.
Really?
Yeah. Vector will, I'm sure, bite your fucking head off in a second for not knowing.
I live under a rock. What can I say? There's a large portion of like internet culture that just completely flies over my head, and it's probably due to my age, but I've made peace with it now.
Oh, we're all three in our 30s, and she's there.
Oh well.
Damn it.
Yeah. I ship it. It's super common. I mean, it may be common now, and I'm not doubting you. It's just
neither one of us knew about it, and it's
skipped over our radar.
Yeah. I'm not putting it down at all. Just didn't know. My wife knew about it though, apparently. Like,
oh, that had to hurt.
Ask your wife. Maybe she knows.
Oh, she's not sitting there anymore, so never mind.
Damn it.
I'll ask her later.
Gotcha.
What? Have you ever heard of the term shipped or ship it when people talk about like fan fiction relationships or whatever? Ooh, 3 for 3. There we go. She didn't know either. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
We're none of us are in the know.
Yeah. But now we do. Now we know. So now we have no excuse, I guess.
Dude, there's like 3 D&D references in my notes. I just saw that.
Are there really?
Yeah. If y'all under rocks, it's true.
I mean, you know,
I literally live in a cornfield, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, I live in the middle of like the forest in Central Florida. Practically, so we're fairly isolated people. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on with your next note that you feel like reading.
Oh, so this one is like, it made me think about like the internalization of your thoughts and stuff like that. When I
Hmm.
first watched this movie, I realized the internal voice in my head had no real sound to me.
Oh, like no tone to the actual, like your inner thought voice.
Yeah.
That's
Like it's not so
interesting.
much that I like think out words. I just conceptualize in my head.
Okay. Mine always just sounded like me. Like I just kind of like internalized myself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because she asks Sarah asked Maddie, what do you hear in your head? Does it sound like a kid? And she's like, it's my mom's
Mhm.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then they went into a scene where she's actually trying to attack one of the endings to her novel, and like you hear like the different overlap thoughts from that voice kind of like coming in, going through all these different possible endings. It was a really cool little scene from that movie because it wasn't so much based around how the cinematography was done. Like the audio really carried that scene, and I really appreciated that. I appreciated that a lot.
Dude, the audio in this movie is so nuts. Like just that intro where like there's nothing until the title hits.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then you just hear like all the ASMR of like her cooking and smashing the garlic, and oh my god.
But what was really cool because like I mean we may be getting ahead of ourselves here, but like they do that. You have all of these like auditory signals going on. And they're all firing off. Your ears are working, and then like there's parts of the movie where it's just dead fucking silent, and it almost makes the silence from those scenes even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's heavy immersion.
I did the same thing, Vector. Listen, I turned my computer up. I was like, what's going on? And then I was like, boom. So I was just like, what the hell's going on? Fuck. Got me.
Oh, dude, they got the jump scare in before the movie even started.
That's what I'm saying. It was tasteful.
Very. Yeah. I dig that. I dig that a lot. So yeah, we go through this scene where we get the sense she's a novelist, she's an author. She's just published this book called Midnight Mass.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tie-in. And to that story about the short from what's his name?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the name of her book is Midnight Mass. It's the first novel I think she had actually published. And so, cutting away from the note section here for a little bit, they're doing a spin-off series that I think is set to air next year based off her novel. So it sounds pretty promising. Dig that up. We might post a link in the chat here moving forward, but where am I at? A little far ahead on my
before
next
you
note,
do your next note. I have one note that'll get right before that.
Yeah.
And it's why is the Apple ecosystem so good?
Why is the Apple ecosystem so
Do you see her move so flawlessly between her phone and laptop?
Yeah, that's the
iMessage and FaceTime. Yeah. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate iPhones. And like Windows phones are done, so
yeah, that was a really short-lived thing, wasn't it? I had high hopes for that one. I really did, with like the whole Xbox integration and everything. I had hopes for Windows phones, but Microsoft just couldn't nail it, I guess.
If Samsung would have made them, they probably would have been amazing.
Yeah, you're probably right. Fun fact, the book appears in Gerald's Game, another Netflix original. Was that also Mike Flanagan, I wonder? Would make sense if it was.
It's the same girl.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
The most expensive part of the movie is the iPhone and the MacBook.
And the laptop. There's like a third of the budget just for the laptop.
The only way she agreed to do the movies was if we gave her the laptop and the iPhone.
Do you have any other notes that kind of fill in this beginning part of the film?
No.
No? Okay. So we get introduced to her neighbor, Sarah, who's learning sign language, had just read a copy of her book, absolutely loved it. We get some more insight into who Maddie is and how she came to be basically living in a house in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
This was a really good job of like filling us in on story details quickly.
Yeah, like you were able to digest a lot of information very fast.
What's it called when you just like blurt out details? Exposition. This was really good exposition.
Agreed. Yeah, that was really well done.
I'm normally not a fan of when movies are like, we tried to go north, but there were too many gods, and there was a very epic battle, and it was just too expensive to film. So we were treated. Like, I wish I could have seen that battle. Damn it.
Right. But, yeah, we kind of got filled in on stuff that wasn't necessary to be like actually in the movie. It's just kind of like, here's the information you need. Now we can move on to the rest of the story.
You can tell that Maddie hasn't been there for very long because Sarah is still like, asking, can I come over? Like she's being very polite, unlike a close friend who would just show up, like open your door, like, sup, fuckers? And like, open your fridge. There's there's a lot of stuff they just like show through conversation between the two. There's a lot of stuff they show just through like their actions and stuff like that. Like, I really like that. She's called Sarah from next door.
That's right. Yeah. So another allusion to the spawning of like a new friendship. And then we see later Maddie has a FaceTime conversation with her sister back in the city, who's like, come back out here and live with me. Like, we'd be much safer together. And, you could get to know the family, or like her own family, her husband and kids. And, why did you choose isolation? She's like, isolation chose me. What are you talking about? So there's some other like more less described details that maybe weren't necessarily prudent to the overall story, but you're still kind of like wondering like, okay, well, how did she actually get to where she is? Like, why did she make the choice? So on and so forth. So probably just nitpicky stuff. So it isn't really, it doesn't detract from the overall film, which
anything that's not super important isn't delved into, and I really like that.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit what happened between her and Craig. Fuck Craig. He a piece of shit. we know they've been estranged for a year, and that she obviously feels slighted because like she feels slighted, but it's still expected that they're going to get together. Like the mom saying, mom's wondering when you two are going to get back together.
Right.
So,
and it registered as like still a fairly fresh breakup, because she still had the urge to call him again. And then anxiety takes over. She quickly hangs up like, no, I shouldn't be doing this. This is a bad idea. Don't want to go down that road again. So
it makes you wonder if they've been like touch and go for like the last year that they've been apart.
Right. Yeah, like off and on, and then she just finally said, fuck this, I'm moving to a cabin in the woods.
Dude, a cabin in the woods, it's where you fuck up.
And then moving forward from there, was it later that night or the following night, I think?
So she sits down and she starts writing. And you can tell that she's like kind of looking for distractions in that text, and then the FaceTime call from Craig. Fuck you, Craig.
Got fired on his day off.
It's Friday. Yeah, like you tell that like she really dives herself into the work she's doing, because she goes back to start cleaning. So we didn't mention this, but she fucks up a dinner when she talks to Sarah, and that's how we find out about the strobe light smoke detector, because dinner burns. Yeah, dinner burns. Totally and that. So she's making like lamb and a gravy, and like it looks like a really, really nice dinner. It was lamb, gravy, fried asparagus. I'm actually super hungry thinking about it.
It did look like it promised to be a good meal. She just wasn't able to execute it. She was distracted. She was heavily distracted. And
so
I don't think
she
she really
goes to
cooks all that
working.
much.
Yeah, you can tell because she's staring at the recipe really hard. So
Yeah, like
after she
studying.
ruins the dinner, she goes to working, and you can tell it's been a while because the gravy has now congealed.
Mm.
Like she's been working easy for a couple hours. It's dark now. We know minimum the movie takes place in like 3 hours.
Right.
Because John comes home.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that at some point. Later through the notes. I was wondering, Vector says I was wondering if he was gonna come save her, and I'm so glad he didn't. And we'll touch on that too, but I completely agree with you. I'm really glad they didn't end up going that route. And then so after she's been working, after she screwed up the dinner, she's cleaned up the mess, and you really get an example of just how severe the deafness is from the side effects from having this meningitis as a kid. Because then Sarah appears later outside her window, her locked door and window, covered in blood, hysterical, screaming, banging, and Maddie is none the wiser. She's just cleaning up her mess, walking back and forth between the kitchen and her living room, just kind of carrying on with her night as if nothing is happening. And I remember just sit there screaming on the inside, like, turn around.
Turn around.
All you have to do is turn around.
Yeah. One of my notes, my next note was We Happy Few mask.
Oh, right.
Dude, that mask. I wish he never would have took it off.
I see why. They did. And like, okay, so Sarah's hysterical, screaming, so on and so forth. Mr. We Happy Few guy, because we never get a name or even an identifier for this antagonist. We just get a face and a mask. So Mr. We Happy Few guy comes in behind Sarah, and she's done. She's gone. She's done for. Violently so. I think I counted 10, maybe 12.
Dude. He just keeps stabbing her too.
Over and over and over and over and over again. And she's just kind of like against the door. All this noise is going on, man. You would like, and at first I wanted to think, doesn't she feel the vibrations through the floor? I'm like, maybe she has a carpet and it's like muffling a lot of, like, there's just so many different, like,
it's
residual thoughts. Yeah.
That's why she doesn't like feel the vibration, because that glass is designed to like to move and bend in case like branches hit it, strong breezes. Yeah. You can tell that later on in the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Like when we get there.
Damn. So she tried. And I feel bad for her, man. I really do. Like, her character is very short-lived, but I still found myself just like, ugh, if only. You know what I mean?
I liked her.
Yeah. She was funny.
Sarah.
She was funny. I think she was really good for Maddie's character in this film, and helping her adapt to her new life out in the
Oh my god.
So yeah, and then moving forward, Sarah's dead, and We Happy Few guy looks through the window. He's like, you can kind of see just through the mask, like in his eyes. He's kind of like, why didn't she turn around? Like, I wonder why she's just kind of acting like nothing happened. And then you see him start banging on the glass, like experimenting, like how much can she actually hear? And he dawns onto him that she's like super deaf. And then moving forward through that, she tries to make another, like, I think another text or another phone call or something. So she's trying to fill in her night before she really retires. And you see this dude go into the house.
Dude, that's bold. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Oh my god. I love that scene.
A+ dodgeball reference. Yeah, super bold move. And I feel like this character has just kind of been emboldened through these actions. Like, this is obviously not his first time.
Yeah.
He definitely has this air of experience in this area. So it made sense for him to do that, because I feel like, you know, he's gotten to this point, he hasn't been caught, and now he's dealing with someone who can't hear shit. So that emboldens him even more to try and take even more risks. As such, walking into the house with this person who's wide awake, just kind of pounding around on her laptop, and then he takes her phone. He takes her fucking phone off the counter and then leaves with it. And then a few minutes later, leading into my next note, bold move, sending photos of herself from her phone, her own phone. What the fuck?
This is one of those times when I'm glad I don't have the Apple ecosystem, because
Okay.
holy shit.
He turns it right around, uses it against her. You know,
Mhm.
she's on her laptop, and there's that little blip that comes up. It's named Maddie's phone. So already she's kind of freaking out, sees pictures of herself, freaks out even more. It did kind of dawn on me kind of odd that she didn't immediately start looking around like, okay, he's coming from this angle. And then, you know, starting to try and analyze the situation almost right away. It seemed like she was very awestruck at first by what was happening. Victor says, you got to wonder how far Sarah's house is, and so much time has passed. That's actually an interesting point. They never really illustrate just how far apart Sarah and Maddie actually live together, because they both obviously live in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I
They
wonder
live
if
in
it's
the middle of nowhere with good internet. I'm jealous.
Right. Hughes has really stepped up their game.
Houston, 25 gigs down.
So yeah, good point. I think that might have been a little bit of an oversight, but it's one of those things that's easily
I don't want to be one of those guys. It's just like,
no, I know.
Damn it.
I'm sometimes guilty of being that guy. So I try not to be. But you know, sometimes I see people in airplanes taking off with the door open, and it just bugs me. So anyway.
Fuck, dude. Okay. So there's a part where Maddie signs something and it says do not want. And I don't know if you've ever seen like Star Wars ran through translators.
No.
Dude, listen. So there's a YouTube video. I've referenced YouTube so much in my life, it's disgusting. There's a YouTube video where they run the script of Star Wars through Google Translate 100 times, and it comes back crazy. Like, you know, when Luke yells no after losing his hand, and spoiler alert, finds out Darth Vader's his dad.
What?
What? 30 years. You've had 40 years, bro. If you run it through Google Translate 100 times, it translates to "do not want."
Do not want.
That's my next note, by the way.
Do not want.
Do not want. Fuck.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm impressed. That's awesome. Wait, what was that in reference to for the movie?
Dude, I can't remember. I can't remember. God damn it. Obviously after she I think it's when he's talking to her.
Okay.
I believe that's it.
Yeah,
It's
that
like a
makes
super
sense.
subtle thing. It just made me laugh super fucking hard. Oh my god. We're professionals, I swear.
I know. Yeah, yeah, we are.
These are stream of consciousness. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then, oh god, my next note is when you dual wield weapons, you get a -2 to the non-dominant hand. Because she grabs a baby knife and a hammer.
Oh, right.
It's like, Jesus.
Well, I mean, she's fighting for her life here, man.
Just for context, by the way, did you put in your notes about the line he says?
Well, I have a note about a line, but it's a little like further into the scene that we're talking about. Just a hair.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to go with your next note.
So yeah, moving forward into that, he's taking her phone, setting her pictures, and the next thing that just came into my mind is the crossbow is a very interesting weapon of choice. It's a hunter's weapon, which implies stalking, stealth. This guy is very patient. He's waiting out his victims, and actually the note before that, or the note just after that, is mentioning, just commenting on how bold this person has actually become, and plays these long waiting games with his victims, getting into their head. He's legit having fun with her. He's having fun doing all this. Like, that's another reason why he takes off the mask. It's just another piece of the game to get into her head, because she writes in lipstick on the window as she's having this interaction with him. Haven't seen your face, won't tell anybody, won't call the cops, boyfriend's on his way home. Like, she's just trying to do anything to get him to leave to that point. And like a fucking badass, he's just like, now what? I've taken away the one element of control that you tried to play on the board, and now the game is mine again.
Yeah. He just legitimately told her, like, I'm not scared of you seeing my face.
Mm-hmm. It's a power move all the way. Total power move. Yeah, I just thought that was very bold and spoke very loudly to me just how experienced he is in doing all this. Like, this is obviously not his first or second time even.
Did you see when she gets the crossbow?
Mm-hmm.
Like 13 victims?
Yeah, he's keeping score. He's keeping score. It's a game. It's all a game to him. Like, this whole thing is just a sick, psychotic little game, and he has so much fun playing it. Absolutely crazy. Go ahead with your next
people. My next note. Oh my god. No, you go with your next note, because my note comes after that.
Okay. Well, there's a. Can you call it a dialogue since only one of them is really talking?
Yeah. So
there's a dialogue between Maddie and the killer, and he's going into this little speech, basically just trying to fuck with her head, get her to a certain point of fear before he finally goes in and kills her. And he says something along the lines of, I'm not going to kill you, not just yet, not until you wish you were dead. And that line right there is he's just waiting it out. He's constantly going to be in the background, whether you know it or not. And this is before we really see more interactions between these two characters through the film. So I'm just taking this off of like very firsthand kind of way. It told me that he was going to constantly be in the background, whether we knew it or not, whether Maddie knew it or not. In every scene, he was going to be there, even if he wasn't on camera. You're meant to believe that he is constantly waiting. He is just constantly laying in wait and somewhere in the background doing some shit like that. And as such, the viewer then feels as if they're watching over their shoulder right along with her. Like, they're constantly going to be looking out, where is this motherfucker?
So my next note is bashing is lethal damage, roll soak.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, dude. So Maddie takes up weapons after he moves, and she basically goes through and like make sure she's in a defensive point.
Mm-hmm.
She locks all the windows, all the doors. There's so many fucking doors in this house, dude. Oh my god.
It's a surprisingly big house. Like when you see the first shot from the outside, or like when her and Sarah are sitting on the porch steps, just kind of like conversating, it doesn't seem like that big of a house. And then all of a sudden, there's like all this square space or all this square footage inside. That wasn't meant to be a plug. That was just misspeaking.
Brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see too, because it was almost like it seemed like another like a improvised part of the game. Like he's chasing her to these different points, trying to beat her to it, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta get the window locked, gotta get the next door locked, gotta get the next window locked." Like they're going all through the house, chasing each other. It was kind of a cool scene. Like I'd never really seen a chase done in that way. It was a unique perspective.
It was definitely toying, that's for sure. Because he could have made it to that kitchen door.
Oh, for sure.
He had to run around.
Yeah,
I love how she ran through her options over and over. As more time went on, she got more and more helpless. I think they're doing fireworks.
Oh, okay.
She got more and more helpless. Yeah, you actually see like the reality of the situation sink in. As she goes farther, like every door she locks, you realize that like she's not as much defending herself as she is trapping herself.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of it that way. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So majority of this film takes place in very, very low light. Like we get daylight and internal light for like the first fourth of the movie. The rest of the film is almost done in complete darkness. They were able to nail filming in low light in a way that I had not seen in a lot of movies, almost any. And it was done very, very well. Like I think that was one thing that I took away almost immediately.
Do you want to know how they do that?
I kind of do, but also my immersion.
It's not going to ruin anything, I promise you. It actually has to do with Netflix and the way that they film.
Really?
Like anything that's made for Netflix is done at 60 frames a second.
Okay.
And the advantage to that is there are more what's called aperture settings and f-stops for 60 frames a second than there are for 24 or 30. Well, for 24, because obviously 30 is a divisible of 60. So, so they could raise the shutter speed to like 120. They could raise the aperture to let in more light on scenes, so they could do a lot with a little bit of light.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. I love that they figured that out.
Nerd in me.
Well, hey, no, I could talk about shit like that all day, but we're not going to.
Right.
But I'm glad that they figured that out, because it made for like, how else would this movie have been possible? I don't feel like this movie should have been done in a very well lit type of way, like with a bunch of outside lights, like with camp, like in Friday the 13th, where they had all those lights outside in the camp and on the houses and shit like that. Not necessary. And I think it actually would have taken away from what made this movie really great.
I agree. I like that a lot of it is done with low light and some very subtle color correction. Like I'm a big fan of the look and tone of this movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. It seemed like like they made it seem like it was filmed under a full moon, and that we were just like, we'll just use this natural light to light our film. And hell, I probably, if they would have told me that, I would have believed it.
Yeah.
I absolutely would.
So good.
It's absolutely beautiful. But despite what's going on in the film, the background is gorgeous.
Oh, so you actually talk about in one of your notes. My notes are so shit with this movie. I feel so bad. Your notes are fantastic. So like Vector said, she runs through her options over and over in her head. And one of your next notes is her going through, like, if you want to read it. Obviously, I don't want to.
Where does she hope to go? Middle of nowhere, isolated. Has to assume that if her friend is dead, that the boyfriend is dead too, because she doesn't know if he's actually come home yet or not. Her friend is in a bloody heap outside of her fucking door. Like, she's still there the whole time. That's gotta suck. So, I mean, she has to assume that her one physical lifeline outside of her own house is gone.
Yeah. I really like that too. Like the whole writer's brain thing, how it's established at the very beginning of the film.
Yeah.
How, like, she even does it, I can't think of the term, the storytelling term. How she does it, like, before she realizes the killer is there. Like, they really establish what this is in her mind.
Yeah, like when she's breaking down the various possible endings to her novel. And she actually elaborates that. Like, she always writes more than one ending because there's always more than one ending in her head.
Oh, she tells her sister which one. I've got 7. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought it was really cool that they then elaborated on top of that with how her brain processes these various endings and how they could possibly intertwine, and she's able to quickly dismiss a lot of them. Like, nope, that won't fucking work because of this won't work because of this is dumb, why did you move out here? Like, she starts getting a little bit more self-deprecating and like kind of poking fun at herself. And yeah, I really dug how they were able to insert that in a very non-invasive way.
Yeah, for sure. I like your next. Okay, go to your next note.
LOL, old crank windows. Do you have these on your house?
I know, but I've lived in houses that had them, so I know what it is. Like
up north. Yeah, my dad's farmhouse up in Minnesota has them all over. Like, there is not a single window in that house except for maybe his bedroom that has a sliding window panel. It's all turn cranks.
They're like storm windows too.
Yeah, because they can't blow open.
Yeah. Jesus.
So this tells me that this film is maybe taking place up north, possibly Midwest area somewhere.
I could see it being like upstate New York. Because she talks to her sister, and it looks like her sister's in like a condo. Because you can see like skyline in the draped window.
Yeah, and she does emphasize that, she wants her to move back into the city with her and be with people again and all that. So yeah, it alludes to a very large city. New York would make sense, like you said, with the skyline, and
also Washington and like maybe Oregon.
Oh yeah. So again, we're speculating here.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Do you want to give your next one? I feel like I've given 3 or 4 now.
Do your next one, because then I'll do my next one.
Okay, so they do actually have like a little bit of a fight.
Yeah.
Early on, it's not like a full-on fight, but she does physically defend herself from this character at one point, and she stabs him, I think, in like the forearm or the wrist, somewhere in this general area.
So you're talking about when she's reaching out for Sarah's phone, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
She hits him with the claw end of the hammer.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's my bashing is lethal damage roll soak. No, she hits him with the claw side of the hammer, dude, and he's like, ooh, and you see the 2 wounds on his wrist are bleeding. Yeah.
I was watching it in the middle of the afternoon, so as much as I was able to see a lot, almost everything, that actually escaped me because I legit thought I saw a baby knife go into his arm.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense and makes your note from previous make way more sense too.
Yeah.
So leading up to that, she tries to get out again. She's constantly trying to escape her house at this point. She's trying to find some exit strategy to where he's either distracted, she's able to skip past his gaze, or just get out without alerting him. And at every turn, he manages to know where she's at and is able to cut off her escape and is just like on the hunt the whole time.
We talked about the house looking bigger than like the house being bigger than what it appears from like the shot, like the shots where you see one side of the house essentially, but we know that it's bigger than those shots originally make it appear. Because she goes upstairs, there's a front, there's a side door, it doesn't look like there's a back door, but there's like a bathroom and like other amenities on the backside. And so he's patrolling the house. She knows that if she goes out, she only has seconds before he'll be in visibility of her.
Yeah.
And
during one of her escape attempts, he manages to sink an arrow into her thigh as she's trying to scale down the what are those things called? They're like integrated wood panels that people put on the side of their house to let like the vines grow up.
I can't think of what it's called, but
you might. What is that thing called? People put it on the side of their house. They let the vines grow up on it, and it's kind of like what we have. A what? A trellis. It's a wooden trellis. Thank you. That comes down that she's trying to scale down, and then all of a sudden you just hear shwink, and there's an arrow in her thigh. Immediately, wounded leg plus wounded arm equals level playing field. She had an advantage on him because he was wounded. Doesn't matter where it is. Once a person suffers a legit, like a fucking claw hammer to the arm, you're at a disadvantage, at least at some point. Yeah. Now it's level playing field. Now she has to deal with the fact that she has this ghastly fucking wound. I mean, we see her later doctoring it in her bedroom, and it just looks fucking awful.
At that point, though, she gets the crossbow. So
yeah,
there's no real advantage on either side because it shows she can't load the crossbow.
Oh, she's fighting
with it, fighting with it. Yeah, like he climbs up after her. She fucking walks on her. Oh my god, she walks on her
the gutters,
dude. I was like, you have to weigh like 85 pounds or something. There's no way.
She is very frail in terms of her physical build. She's not a large person by any means of the imagination. So it was a stretch.
Sarah.
That's true. Yeah. It was a stretch, but it did seem passable that she'd be able to do that and not like just completely snap the thing off the side of the house. But I was definitely like on the edge of my seat, just waiting for her to fall. Like I was so sure that was what was coming next. But then all of a sudden she's able to wrestle away this crossbow from this guy. So then he no longer has his weapon of choice. He's no longer really able to like stalk her from a distance. Like this suddenly becomes a very personal confrontation.
Yeah, well, he's lost his range weapon. He still has a very nice like hunter's knife.
Yeah.
And so my next note is range attacks get a -1 to DC checks in melee range.
Like I knew you were serious. Now that it's actually coming out, it's like wow.
Nerd. So she actually starts explaining to herself in her options that if she tries to shoot, number one, she's weak from losing blood. She knows that I'm kind of skipping ahead. She knows that like it's a ranged weapon, so she'd have to be outside to try and fire it. If he comes inside, she's going to be too close. He's going to be able to juke too hard for her to try and get a shot. She knows she has to try to hit for the heart or the head. Like, she's really going through her options when she finally has like the ability to use the crossbow.
Yeah, if nothing else, she is super intelligent. Like, she is very analytical and critical of her surroundings and of the situation at hand. And for her to be able, in the midst of all this traumatic shit that's going on, for her to be able to sit back, weigh through the options the way that she did with her writer's brain, and like just analyze every facet of the situation, I was super impressed. Like, it actually goes right into my next note. Maddie's tough. Like, as much as she may be like physically disadvantaged against this person, mentally speaking, she is tough as nails, and she's able to really compartmentalize those emotions and sit down. Okay, what do I need to do? What comes next? What happens if I do this? Like, I was very impressed. Very, very impressed.
Yeah. My next note is cops don't have neck tattoos, dude.
Like, I'll give it to John for like kind of looking at him sideways, but he didn't look at him sideways enough, you know?
Yeah,
like, there is,
apparently.
you can see him eyeing him up and down, like, you don't look like a cop.
Now, granted, it's in the dark and he is turning himself. Like, he walks up. So Sarah's boyfriend, John, comes home from work, and he goes to Maddie's house, obviously establishing he knows that they're friends enough that she might be over there. Mm-hmm. We get more and more signs that like about their friendship and stuff like that, even like when it's irrelevant, I think, which is cool when you think about the movie later.
Yeah. Well, it made sense for them to unveil it the way they did, because again, up until the point we actually see John, I assumed he was dead too. Like, he was in the kitchen or in the bathroom at their house, lying in a pool of his own blood. And Sarah had just managed to escape the house for a little bit before ultimately meeting her end. So once we finally see John come around, I'm like, oh, so here's another part of the story that I wasn't actually expecting.
Right.
And so we see him go to the house. It's all, how is it locked? Like, did the killer, I'm assuming the killer locked it up afterwards, but then it's like, why? Because John can't get into his own house.
That's weird.
Right?
Did you not bring your house key? Are you okay?
Like, something's amiss here. But it did, like, okay, it's like, all right, we have to give him a reason to go over to Maddie's house. The doors are locked. All right, next scene.
Yeah. Maybe that's, I don't know. That's a weird detail to like drop the ball on.
I hate my brain sometimes.
It is what it is. It's still a 9 out of 10 movie as far as I'm concerned. Remember when we used to rate movies? Fuck.
Oh yeah, we kind of let go of that, didn't we? Well, maybe we'll try that again at the end of this episode. God damn it. We're nothing if not inconsistent.
Yeah, we're consistently inconsistent. Thank you. Yes. What's your next note?
Next one is kind of touches on what we said before about the notches on the crossbow. We find out this guy's actually a serial killer, and my earlier assumptions were kind of spot on. This is not his first time, and motherfucker is actually keeping score, again alluding to the fact that he is playing this game, this long, elaborate game with his victims, and it's all amounting up to an ultimate score. What that actually means, I have no idea, but it just kind of speaks onto the level of psychosis this character is exuding, to the point where he's keeping a tally of like how many fucking lives he's taken. So it's just even more compounds the fact that this is one sick motherfucker.
Yeah. I feel like I started writing a note and I just stopped in the middle of. I said, even if you can't use crossbow, and then that's it. That's all. What the fuck is wrong with me? man. So my next actual note is I've never seen a cleaner knife stab.
Oh, right, though.
God, dude.
Like, and it was effortless. It was absolutely effortless. That was a sharp as fuck knife. And I was just like, as soon as it happened, I was like, what? Oh,
Right. You can't do that, dude. That's not fair. Oh my God.
You didn't roll for stealth.
That was actually an attack of opportunity.
You're not wrong.
Dude, he's a rogue.
Yeah.
He's a rogue. I thought maybe he was a ranger at first. Nope. He is an elf rogue.
Dark elf.
He's a drow rogue. God damn it.
So what we're talking about. So the killer has pawned himself off to be a cop. How he was able to carry that lie for his like John, come on, bro. So again, it's dark. He's got the light in his face. He's playing the part fairly well. Like I feel like if he had like one of those costumes on, home dude would have never been the wiser. Like he never would have had a reason to suspect him. He played the part really well, other than that glaring neck tattoo. Like that thing was not small.
No, it's a fucking snack on his neck. Jesus Christ.
Snack on the neck.
Snack on the neck. Yeah, he runs up on John and he's holding the flashlight like it's an under barrel attachment to a
His
pistol.
Yeah.
Which is
played it off really well.
But I John's not thinking, he's clearly concerned. And he comes up and confirms what probably would have been one of John's suspicions, that something has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how he pulled off the whole, like, I'm a cop. Don't move,
Yeah. I will give it to him, though. He did come up with a fairly clever way to get him to divert his attention. And with the key under the pot.
Yeah.
He's like, I think she lives alone. She's deaf. She's mute. She doesn't really know anyone but us. So I think there's like a spare key under the flower pot there at the bottom of the stairs. And he could have pulled it off. Like he had the rock in his hand that he grabbed off the thing. It was ready to go.
Don't give it away. Just in case. Just in case.
Okay. So regardless, it doesn't go well for John.
Yeah. John
as you alluded to in your note.
In the neck.
Dude. And it was just a smooth, like, shwink.
Dude, I know, right? Like, it's like a love tap. But of death.
And he just starts bleeding immediately, dude.
Yeah, the killer's like, it's done.
Yeah, like calm down. You're gonna die. Don't make it worse.
I just remember being in that moment, like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
John was gonna outsmart you.
Yeah.
And
it just didn't turn out that way.
I was frustrated in that part, man. Oh my God. I mean,
John hesitated. The killer did not.
It's true.
I feel like that's what took place. He had the opportunity there to just knock him out, to bash him over the head. And he hesitated. Whereas the killer saw his opportunity and shwink, and it's done. However, leading up to that, or leading into my next note from that, I was super impressed that John even had enough strength to choke him for as long as he did. The guy was obviously in good shape. Mm-hmm. He took care of himself. He just wasn't all that cognizant because he's fearful for his girlfriend or his wife. I don't know what their relationship was exactly, but a non-necessary detail.
Right.
Unnecessary detail. Jesus. So obviously wrought with concern. He's not thinking 100% clearly. This guy is setting off all kinds of red flags, although he doesn't know what just yet. until finally, he comes to terms with it, and then he was too late. So GG's, John. GG's.
GG's, John.
Oh, what's your next note?
You rolled too low. Your attack was way too what the fuck is that called when you roll for attack order?
Oh, I haven't played in so long.
No, we're gonna think of it and just put it right here when you roll for, and then just dub over it for. Yeah, when you roll for. Initiative.
Initiative.
Yeah, John, you rolled too low for initiative. You got. Rogues have like 6 attacks. There's nothing you can do, dude.
This episode's getting named by some D&D reference. I've already decided that.
Shit.
But yeah, was that your follow-up?
No. Do your next note, and then I like both of our next notes.
Okay.
I forgot to send you my notes.
Fuck. I don't think you have.
I did the last time.
Oh, did you?
Or I did the time with Olivia. I sent you my notes.
Oh,
I need to do that more often.
Yeah, because I don't remember that. Anyway. So, okay, we're at a point now where they have had many physical confrontations, and Maddie has lost a lot of blood at this point. Like she's fading. She's fading fast. She needs to come up with something.
Here, man.
Her vision's going. Her body's falling apart. She has to come up with something, and she has to come up with it quick. Her thought process, the way that her thought process works in writing, she applies to this situation, and she's weighing out the different outcomes. Early on in the film, we see her in a crawl space under her porch when he first shows up. She weighs out that option. She figures out that doesn't end well. Just trying to run out of the house probably won't end well. Like, it's really cool the way that they actually filmed the different outcome scenarios of like how she could possibly die if she tries to escape in areas X, Y, and Z. So seeing that, and actually my wife helped me come up with this note. Her mom, in a very cosmic sense, saves her life. Because again, her mom's voice is the voice in her head. It's the voice that she hears when she's running down this analytical thought process. So it really helped her devise a plan of escape, of fighting this dude off or whatever. And seeing them being able to incorporate that in the later stage of the movie and have it just work so flawlessly. I loved it. I loved that scene.
I would have done it a little bit differently, and I might have changed a few details in the movie. Not to say that the movie isn't good the way they did it, but imagine if Maddie gets a call from not her sister, but her mom. And then you hear her mom's voice and you can put it to a face. And in the background is Maddie's sister with a child. And they literally say, come back to the city, meet, get to know your family.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't have to give any more details about Craig because fuck you, Craig. And then when they do the scene where Maddie is running through all the situations, she's you see her looking at herself, talking to herself. Now you're to understand that that's her mom's voice, but it's literally coming out of her mouth.
Right.
When she's talking to herself. So if instead it looks like it's her mom actually next to her, talking to her, helping her run through all of the scenarios, that would have been more in context, I think, to the way her mind works to me. It's a really weird thing, and it just would have been more consistent to what they were building in my eyes. It's still a very powerful scene, and it's very well made, and it's visually very entertaining as well. So,
well, I think it's cool that you're able to kind of share like your own artistic interpretation of what that scene could have been. And I think that's one thing I would like to actually do more of on this podcast, because I like that idea. I really do. I think that would have gone over just as well as the version that we have now. So yeah, well done. Good job.
thank you. Gold star.
Gold star. So I feel like we might have a similar note on this next one up, because I got to tell you right now, I had to look away.
Dude. Oh, I'm glad they don't show it, because they can leave, like, I don't have to see physical gore to be repulsed.
The ADR
my God.
Wow.
On point. The whole movie too, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it made sense that they had to do it that way, because we have a deaf character. So like having
really
having the
how important sound is.
Yes. How much it really plays into just not even just everyday life, but I mean, like, you're fighting for survival. You can't hear a goddamn thing going on. Like, it definitely puts into perspective just how important sense of hearing is.
By the way, if you watch this movie again, which it's totally worth watching multiple times in your life, that's for sure. Every time it's Maddie by herself, the only sound you get is sounds that she's making. There's no outside noise. It's her breath and her steps. That's the only sound you have. And that's so fucking good, dude. What a good detail.
Yes.
So immersed in her.
Loved it. But to stay on point, my note is just, oh, fuck, her hand.
Dude, I watched it and I was like, dude, her hand. Oh my God.
Ooh. You want to describe the scene?
Okay, so John's gone out of the picture, and the killer is kind of like reveling in his victory. Like, he literally says, "I wouldn't have won that one if we fought."
Yeah, he admits that he is underpowered against John.
Yeah. John is bleeding, and he's like, "What? I have like a 2 in 10 chance of winning this fight." Like, he admits that he's physically weak. There's also some stuff I'm going to talk about in a minute where, like, you can tell that this killer, there's like very subtle psychological tells that he's probably someone who's been maybe not bullied, but he's been repressed.
Yeah,
I'll say, like, his size and demeanor have always been a negative for him.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So he's reveling in the fact that he killed John. John almost takes him, though, and I love that. Like, that's a sign for like everyone to be like, maybe Maddie can do this. So you build hope up again, and like the tension it creates when you feel hopeful that Maddie could do this is so high when they hit that final anyway, the final confrontation is so good. John is, or not John, the killer is sitting on the car smoking a cigarette that he stole from John, and he sees the cat. This cat has played like a pretty like it's almost Deus Ex Machina in the story. Like, it just does important things when it needs to.
I kind of looked at the cat as the comic relief.
Dude, its name is Bitch.
Yeah.
The cat comes up and dude, don't kill animals. Don't kill animals.
Right.
Don't kill animals in movies, please. You can be as sick and twisted as you want. Just don't show yourself killing an animal. Holy shit. he's about to kill the cat.
Mm-hmm.
And then takes a fucking arrow to the shoulder, dude.
And hard.
Oh, yeah, it hits him fierce.
Yeah.
So now it seems like maybe Maddie has the upper hand. Pun intended. Maddie has the upper hand. So
God damn it.
She goes to run back in the house and drops the crossbow and drops an arrow. She falls down, and then she goes to shut the sliding door and has to stop to try and grab the arrow she dropped because it's the last arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And which I don't understand why. She could literally just go up to the roof and get the one that was on the roof. That's a small detail. I feel like she's super analytical. Yeah. Okay. I'll give it a
moment of panic.
So she goes to reach for the
it's called a bolt.
The arrow, and he catches her hand in the sliding door. And like sliding door, you go to close it. It's called a bolt. Thanks.
Crossbow bolt. Yeah.
He catches her he catches her hand in the sliding door. Full force. She's trapped. And he levels the playing field back and destroys her hand. Kicks it 2 or 3 times, I think. And you can see,
like straight up mud stomps like on her hand. And then he's like digging his heel. He's digging his heel in. Like you don't, again, building on what you said earlier, you don't have to see it happening because you can hear every snap, crackle, and pop of every tendon, ligament, and bone inside of her hand. It's just I had to look. Oh fuck, dude! God damn it! It's
names. Stop! It's turning me on. Fuck you.
There seems to be a lot of playing fields in this movie.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, it's a game to him. You got to like from his perspective, this is all just a giant mind game. And from where he's coming from, he's like, to just kind of keep building on your D&D shit, he's the dungeon master in this whole thing. He's in control. He's in control of the whole situation, at least the way he is looking at it. Because even when he's losing control, he still manages to find a way to come out on top, a la the whole scene between him and John. So, yeah, it's just a giant game to him.
So, yeah, you see visual agony on her face. Yet again, it cuts to her. There's no sound other than what's happening to her. Like there's thuds from him kicking and stomping, and you just see her face and her breathing. And she pulls her hand, and her fucking ring finger, dude. Her ring finger is bent sideways. Like you can tell that the is it ligament in your fingers that holds the joint together?
I think so. Yes.
You can tell that it's completely torn. There's no mobility in that finger
ever again.
It's so bad. And he gives her hand back.
Mm-hmm.
And she shuts the door. And that's him playing the game again.
Yep.
And he's that's when he like lets her know, like when he feels like he's totally won, he says to her, "I'm coming in now." After he let her shut the door.
Yeah.
She gets up, super hard ass moment, goes to the wound on her fucking leg and starts writing. When he's like, "I'm coming in," she writes, "Do it, coward."
During that scene, my wife and I looked at each other and we were like, I hope she just writes up there, "Fuck you." But I think "do it" was way better. Like she's just egging him on. And then she hits the window after she writes it. Like she writes the "do it" thing in her own blood, like a total badass. Like you were just saying, like, total badass moment for Maddie. And it's just like, come on, fucker, do it. And then like, I was really hoping she just like wanted to jab it in a little more than just coward and just kind of like throw like pussy up there or something, just to really dig it in just a little bit more and like assault his ego. Because you got to think this is also like a giant ego trip for this guy.
Yeah.
The way that he's constantly winning, like he feels like he's on top 100% of the time. So his ego is inflated. To attack his ego would probably just make him take risks that he would not normally take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but either way, total badass moment. I loved it. Totally egging him on. She has developed a plan as of this point. We see her go to her computer, fucking writes down his description.
Yeah, one-handed writes it's basically like her black box.
Yeah.
She writes the description of the killer. She leaves a note for her family. Died fighting. Love you. And then makes her way to what she feels like is her last stand. Because her plan failed.
Yeah.
Okay. Do your next note. Because we differ a little bit.
Okay. I felt that the following fight scene between these two characters was really believable. Like, obviously, it wasn't like stellar combat because we're dealing with an author, a deaf author, and someone who, I mean, I doubt he's had any real training other than like self-taught crossbow shooting. So, I mean, it's all basically street fighting. It's survival fighting.
Yeah.
Which made it totally believable and realistic, which I really appreciated. And there's like a heavy amount of dramatic effect. Like I remember just kind of lifting myself off the couch, just going, come on. Like you see her eyes bulging, like the asphyxia is starting to kick in because he's sitting there like with his hands around her neck. Like they have fought for about 5 minutes now. He has managed to get the position on top, literally and metaphorically. Like he's actually sitting on her chest, trying to choke her out. Her eyes are popping, they're bulging, she's losing breath. A corkscrew appears out of nowhere. Like I don't know if
they established the corkscrew though.
Did they?
At the beginning of the movie when she's making dinner, it like they show her put the corkscrew into the wine bottle.
Okay.
Okay. Pour the Chardonnay.
Yeah. Like
that was Chardonnay.
So yeah, I actually dug that following fight scene, not because of its combat prowess, just because it was really believable, and it was one of those things where you could put yourself into this character's position and be like, yeah, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. So if you don't know, by the way, it's not a fucking orgy memes. Jesus.
What movie did you watch?
I don't think you watched the movie. You might have seen it before. I don't know. He kept like coming at me because I didn't do a watch party. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right.
I wanted to, but I couldn't. There was just no time. Hush's Pog. It is a super good movie. So yeah, they established the corkscrew. There's two things that I get from the fight. One, she's a Jedi. Because that whole bathroom thing, it's suddenly a John Woo movie, and she's Keanu Reeves. Yeah. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. You Never Do Things With Me Third. I'm sorry. It's rough. Yeah, she's holding the knife like that. She feels him behind her. Like he's like, and just a breath hits the nape of her neck.
On her. Oh, dude, it was like, so good.
Backhand knife. Kia. And that gives him the business.
Gives him the business, but what was great is like right after she feels his breath on the nape of her neck, you see him go forward, and she literally like just turns with his blade, like completely just saying, Fuck you.
I just like she turns around, the knife's going around her neck. Pigeons and doves are flying in the background, and there's God rays, and she's like, oh, like it just. I was like, God damn. And they kiss. They don't kiss. No. God damn it. My last note. My last note is you just got corkscrewed.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like my last note is I almost thought she was gone too. Like I thought that he had gotten her just to that point before she was able to get like her kind of like final hurrah. But yeah, I thought he had taken her with him, to be honest with you.
Do you know what scenario I think she finally played out? And like this is just me like immediately like
I feel like you're about to say something I thought, but go ahead.
I think she played up how much she was struggling against him. Because he's clearly weak too. He just took a fucking knife to the knee. He's got a shoulder wound. So it's not like he's got a lot of muscle compression to extend out, to choke her. Because like his pectoral is clearly torn. Ew.
Oh yeah, from the bolt to the shoulder.
Yeah. He's fucked. But I think she's playing it up so that he feels like he's winning and not paying attention to her.
That makes more sense.
Because he dies. Spoiler. Sorry. You've had 4 years. Fuck off.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. So he falls on her dead. And they fall in love. No,
God damn it.
He falls on her dead. She's still like she can push him off.
Okay.
And he's bigger than her. So she's not as hurt as she's like giving off,
Playing possum.
God damn it, memes. Shut up. Yeah. So I just feel like she was playing it up that he was doing a lot more damage than he actually was.
Well, if she did, that was really smart. I think that was a great survival tactic, and that probably could have gone the other way really quick had she not.
True.
So play more to her critical thought process and how intelligent she really was. Like she's super smart.
Yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. So I actually don't have any more notes. I wasn't sure how you felt about going into like quote spoiler territory. So I kind of just ended things with like a final thought.
It's still a good movie to watch. It's still very tense. Even if you know the ending, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. Like I feel like we're at a pretty good stopping point with talking about the movie.
Okay.
Do you want to try and give like a rating? A creative rating out of 5.
A creative rating? Let me see. What would I do? What would I put here?
I already know what I'm gonna say.
Well, give me yours. Maybe I can build off of yours.
Okay, so we're gonna rate this out of 5 creatively. I'm gonna give this one 5 broken fingers from a heel stomp out of 5.
God damn it.
Yeah.
That's good. I appreciate that. As cringed as it just made me, that was really good. The whole scene, dude. I was just kind of like, because have you like even jammed a finger? Like that shit sucks. So imagine having it just completely smashed. That's like times 1,000. Fuck. Like I can't even count how many times I've cracked a knuckle on the rim of a snare drum. And that shit sucked.
Yes.
So I can only imagine what poor Maddie went through. God damn it, dude. Okay. I would give this 5 bitch cats out of 5.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
5 bitch cats out of 5.
Hell yeah.
Bitch.
We learned sign language from this movie.
Oh man, it was fun.
It was a great
movie.
one.
It's been on Netflix for years too. Watch it. Go watch
it's
it right
still
now.
there, and it's still in some of the suggested categories. Like it still pops up.
Go watch everything Blumhouse. Oh my god, support Blumhouse, please.
They've been hitting it out of the park so far. I don't think we've covered a bad Blumhouse movie on this show yet. That's Granted, we're only 9 episodes in, but you know we have time.
how many Blumhouse have we done? A ton of Blumhouse movies.
I feel like this is our second or third, or at least something they were involved in. I want to say, I could be totally wrong, but it feels like we've talked about it so much that we've watched a few of their movies.
We've covered Blumhouse movies in like news and stuff like that,
right?
And I've like professed my love for.
Maybe my brain just kind of put all that together. Of like, we've watched so many Blumhouse movies.
Dude, I have. It's disgusting. There's only one Blumhouse movie that I'm not like super into, and it's The Nun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've talked about that before. Maybe that's why I'm putting it together. Like we've watched so many of these movies because we just talk about them a lot.
Dude, David. Oh my God, David Bloom. It's technically Blumhouse, but I just like saying Blumhouse. I don't know why. David Bloom is like a creative fucking tidal wave for horror right now. And if we didn't have him, horror would be in a shitty place.
I can't disagree with you.
Like Lionsgate isn't doing shit.
Not anymore.
What's
Legendary has really hopped onto the MonsterVerse train.
Yeah. Platinum Dunes, they don't do anything anymore because Avatar 2 is coming out, and
what?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Wait, which Avatar?
No, not Airbender.
Not M. Night Shyamalan.
Blue, purple, or blue people hair sex Avatar.
Okay. Tree sex.
Yes. Who the fuck? Titanic.
James Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron.
James Virtue Signal. Anyway.
Yeah, he owns a production company that does like a ton of horror movies.
James Cameron does?
Yeah, him and who's the guy who did Transformers?
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Michael Bay is the one I was actually trying to think of. Sorry, I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
Avatar. Yeah, Michael Bay owns a production company called Platinum Dunes, and they were doing like a ton of horror remakes. And well, he's involved with Platinum Dunes. I don't know if he owns it. My bad.
I wouldn't put it past. I mean, I feel like a lot of very heavy creative personalities have their own production companies, at least in some light. Maybe they don't own it outright, but
yeah, I know he has stake in Platinum Dunes though, because he literally produced Friday the 13th,
and which he walked out of.
Yeah, fucking pussy, coward.
What was that? Episode 3, I think we did.
Yeah.
Defend the failure. Okay, so if you would like to hear our elaborated thoughts, do go back and catch that episode. It was a fun one too. I just want to kind of go ahead and give my final thought really quick on this film.
Do it.
Great writing, an amazing concept that was executed very, very well. We have not that I can think of. Anyone listening and watching, feel free to put it in the comments below. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember there being a deaf protagonist in a horror movie before this one. And it was a concept that was very new to the genre, and I think they did it extremely well. The villain is easy to hate, but also fear at times, just because of how cerebral his attacks are. So when people really play on your emotions and your mental state, and if they can do it very well, it's a very scary person to be around. Maddie develops an emotional tie with the audience that makes you cheer her on, and I just absolutely loved this movie.
Freddy Krueger killed a deaf character. He's
Which
not
one?
he's not the protagonist of the story, but he's the main character. It's not Dream Warriors. I think it's the one right before Dream Warriors, though. I want to say because Dream Warriors was 4. I think it was 3.
So. There's so many.
Yeah. So if you remember, there's a scene where Freddy is going after a kid who's got a hearing aid. He's deaf without the hearing aid.
Oh, okay.
He takes it out, and the kid's like freaking out, and Freddy's like doing all this funny shit behind him, fucking with him. And he gives him the hearing aid back, and it like morphs and molds and like takes over the side of it. It looks like a tumor on the side of his head, and it like gives him ultra sensitive hearing. Freddy like runs his knife across a pipe, and it's like he's in agony, and then he drops a bunch of pins from like 30 feet up, and the pins start hitting the ground, and his head explodes.
God damn it! I was gonna go back and watch that one,
dude. I love Freddy. He's my top 3, but he's number 3.
Yeah. He's hard to beat.
He's literally hard to beat.
Not impossible, but yeah.
Every movie he comes back, but it feels like when he comes back, he just negates the way he was defeated before. You know?
Yeah. No one brings it up.
Yeah. Like in Dream Warriors, they throw holy water on him, and he like sucks in the ground. He's like, "Oh, this sucks, bitch," you know. And then in the sequel to that, the dog pees on him, and it's like he just rehydrates back to life. Freddy Krueger's part fucking sea monkey, like.
God damn it. Yeah, the holy water thing really confused me because like Freddy's not a demon.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Yeah. He makes a deal with demons.
Yeah, okay. I'll let it. Yeah, all right.
Part of his lore.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I guess I'm just coming from it more of like, you know, there's not a lot of religious overtones that would imply like that would be a weakness of his, if that makes sense.
So when they start like diving into what Freddy is, that's when they go into his origin story, and they dive super deep into his origin. Like his dad was abusive, so that's why he's into pain and shit like that. And then you find out that the dad that he knows is actually adoptive parents, and they didn't love him, and he's born from a nun who was raped by 1,000 prisoners in a mental institution.
He had no chance.
Dude. Freddy Krueger's story is like, and then wolves attacked. The aliens. Fuck.
Oh man. Well, do you have any final thoughts on Hush?
Oh yeah, that's right. We're talking about Hush. I love Hush. I love that Hush shows that Blumhouse doesn't have to be like. Blumhouse has like a very wide variety of horror to offer. You know, this movie is tame enough that, you know, someone like Vector, who doesn't like horror movies, was able to watch and be invested.
That's a
and
good
it
point.
like, you know, it entices someone like me because it's literally a masked killer.
Yeah.
As it starts out, and then it evolves into like the psychological thriller that it is. And then it'll bring people who don't like horror, period, because it's just something new and interesting. And then it jumps into areas that other movies would be scared to. You know, you have a disabled I'm sorry, a differently abled antagonist who still kicks ass. You know, like there's so many layers to this movie. I feel like everyone could enjoy something about it. That's why it's done so well on Netflix.
It's still on. 4 years later, it's still, recommended in the thriller and horror categories. It's not buried underneath like a pile of other films. It's still like at the top of the heap. So
I look like a jackass named Todd. Fuck you, memes. Says, uncross your arms, please. You look like a jackass named Todd.
That seems really specific. I feel like Dead Memes has had a really bad run-in with people named Todd.
Fuck. Got me. Damn it.
Oh, that's good. Thanks, Memes. So, okay. Moving into the rest of this episode. So if you've been following us and been watching along with us from the beginning till now, we used to have like these little end segments that we would do, either like a second movie or like another topic or something like that. We're not going to be doing that anymore. And mostly for time reasons, but also it just kind of added more, I don't want to say stress, but it did add like another level of like, fuck, we still have to put this part of the show together. I feel like moving forward, those might work really well as like bonus videos or bonus content to add on to, like, I don't know, one of the channels, or, something else for viewers and listeners to really whet their palate on. God damn it, memes.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Oh, where would we be without you? So yeah, we're just
comes in.
I mean, the Deadboy shipped.
Yep. Oh fuck. I think it's coming full circle.
It is all in one episode too.
Well, I made you dad. It's true. Usually in any situation where I'm in a homo-romantic relationship, I'm the dominant, I guess.
You're a bear.
Yeah.
I can see you as a bear.
I'm not, though. Like,
I know. Well, I know that.
Not that there's anything wrong. Fuck, dude. What do you do?
Oh, what do you do? You just kind of roll with it.
Fuck it. I'm a bear.
Fuck it. So yeah, I first watch for me.
Yeah.
I like literally watched it like this afternoon, earlier today, and
I did too. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. And that's why I had to watch it at twice the speed.
How do you do that? Like, I find that so off-putting, just hearing it.
It actually helped me pick up on details, believe it or not.
How?
Because sounds are like more prevalent when they're higher pitch.
Okay.
It's not like it's not like that kind of high pitch, but it's faster and I think a little bit easier to recognize when you see things over and over again. That's how I picked up on when you see her, like when it's just Maddie, you only hear like her movements and her breath.
Right.
That's the only sound you get. A Quiet Place is on Hulu.
Is it?
Dope. It's on Hulu.
Cool.
We're there, boys. We're watching it.
All right. So erase that previous announcement. And next week we'll be doing A Quiet Place. Thank you, Delta Rose. And I'm looking forward to it. It's another one I haven't seen yet. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, yes.
Cool. All right.
I'm such a fucking movie buff, man. Disgusting. At
Dude,
some
my
point, we're
kid.
gonna have to do like some classic movies too. I've been thinking about that a lot. Sorry, go with your
Some
energy.
classic movies, going into some other subgenres too, because like my kid has been getting super obsessed with the MonsterVerse and like the old like Godzilla stuff. I mean, like he and I
Kaiju?
sat down, yeah, old kaiju movies. I sat down with him the other night and he legit got roped into Destroy All Monsters. Like he loved the fuck out of it.
Nice.
So we have been getting in like deep diving into some old kaiju, like the old Toho movies and like some of the current MonsterVerse stuff. If you haven't seen the new King of the Monsters, it's so good.
There is a newer Godzilla kaiju movie, like made in Japan. I think it was like
2016
yeah.
Shin Godzilla.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet, but I got it. I grabbed it.
You own it?
I own it. Well,
You stupid bitch. Why haven't you watched it?
I kind of.
Oh, you acquired it. Gotcha.
I acquired it.
Yeah.
Again, broke ass bitch.
Yeah. Dude, I did the same thing because you can't find it on anything. And it's like
Almost nothing. Yeah. And what's weird is that like Bloody Disgusting posted a list of like all the movies and like where you can watch them. And that one was, I think, just like an Amazon buy or rent.
sucks.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we should definitely expand our reach into the other genres a little bit.
All I'm saying is if you want to watch a kaiju movie, I'm down for that.
Fuck yeah, this is why we're friends.
We can watch I love so much about horror. Kaiju, I love classic monsters, I love slashers, psychological, supernatural. You want to watch? Hell yeah.
I mean, I got a free copy, so we can do a watch party.
I think we should stick with A Quiet Place though, just because it's legal to watch right now.
It's been announced.
Yeah.
We can cut this other extra shit out. So
no, we would never delete the VOD. Delete the VOD.
Yeah, we'll definitely try and be more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but we'll try and do more shit like that moving forward.
Prepared, professional.
Yeah. All the things we're not.
Coherent. Showered.
Yeah.
Dude.
We're in trouble if they ever invent smell-o-vision.
Fuck. I don't even want to admit, like, dude, because it's humid all the time. Like, sweat. Make pancakes between my legs, man. Like, you live in Florida. So you probably put like talcum powder in your crotch and stuff to like.
I should. I definitely should. Like, rub a deodorant stick down there once or twice. Yeah.
I don't recommend that at all.
It rains while the sun is still like out and visible. There's like all kinds of crazy sun showers, so it's just like the humidity is instantaneous, and it's not cool.
It rains for like 45 minutes every day in the summer in Florida. It's awful.
Yes, I hate it. But it's really no different than Houston. So it's like, what did I really move into? Nothing. I'm still where I was. It's just more palm trees.
Yeah. Dude, I just want to go to Texas. I just want to live in Texas. Maybe not Houston. I hear Austin is like super progressive.
It's super progressive. There was a point in time where it was like the hipster mecca of Texas. Like it was their Williamsburg.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind living out there.
But I got family and friends up there and they're all cool as shit. So I wouldn't mind that at all. If I ever got back to Texas, I'd probably avoid Houston altogether. It's just too big now. It's the third largest city in the country.
Gross.
Like I went from over 2 million people in Houston to like 60,000 here in Florida.
More crackheads? Jesus.
And more, I mean, he's not wrong. There was a huge, do you remember when the whole like synthetic pot thing was like a big problem?
K2, is that what it's called?
Yeah, and all that shit.
Yeah.
There was actually a place in downtown, right around like the
Nice,
big, yeah. It was called Ben Taub Hospital, and there was a park, Herman Park. There was an area that they called Cush Corner, where people would go and just gather, and like you would see all these like fucking, oh dude, they just looked awful, like they were having the worst time. It was bad. It was
funny
really bad.
story. My dad's a huge piece of shit, right? Like just as far down the piece of shithole you can get.
All
Like
right.
he's a fucking racist. He's a drug addict. The only time I've ever been proud of my dad, he was in rehab, and he was doing really well. He gained a bunch of weight. Like he looked like a normal person. Like my dad looks like me, but like skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a big
unhealthily
dude.
skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think my dad, the only thing my dad didn't look like he scratched his neck, but he's like smoking meth and shit. Yeah. So my dad went to rehab. And he was a meth dealer too. He went to rehab and he was doing really well and like literally bought me lunch for like the first time in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, super like crazy. A month later, he fails a piss test on because he's in a halfway house. He's in rehab halfway house. He fails a piss test and they pull him on not parole but probation.
Right.
Yeah. So they bust him on his probation, and before he got caught, because he wasn't turning himself in, he left the halfway house and was like on the run.
What the fuck?
I sent him a message. I was like, how could you be so fucking stupid to fail a drug test after you got clean? He was like, I didn't think they'd test for spice. I was like, you stupid bitch. You stupid bitch.
What the fuck?
I didn't think they'd test for spice.
Well, at first they weren't because they weren't aware of it. And
yeah,
then
that's
once
on
it
everyone's
became,
radar
like,
now.
Yeah. It's not the under the table workaround that it used to be.
Oh, you stupid bitch.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude.
That's a lot of the reason I am the way I am.
I get it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
We're going deep into the psyche of Third X Trick.
Hey.
Lore.
Big?
Big? Yes. Because my dad got so small.
Yeah. My dad is exceptionally tall.
Is he?
Yeah. Like I got a lot of my height I got from him. He's like 6'2", 6'3".
You seem like you're tall.
I'm about 6'1".
I am too.
Yeah. So I'm like just under where he was at. But at 13, I could fit in his shoes.
Damn.
Yeah, they stopped growing after that. It's like the myths are not true, ladies and gentlemen.
God, yes. We're both big dudes. They're not 6'1". I swear to God, I'm 6'1". Why would I lie about that?
That's a silly thing to lie about.
Right?
Yeah.
6'1", 300 pounds. I am big boy.
That's the kind of thing you lie about when you're begging for subs.
Yeah. We're not on my channel. This channel isn't affiliated. It is what it is.
Got no reason. No reason at all.
This is just us shooting the shit at the moment.
Yeah, this is kind of how we're gonna not sign off, but this is like the end area.
This is how we
the
taper off.
Yeah. And I kind of dig it. I kind of dig the bantering back and forth. Just kind of talking shit.
For sure. Miss Swift? No, dude. Is Taylor Swift country or pop?
Yes.
Fuck you.
I feel like that's the only way to answer that question because I mean, like,
man.
Is it or isn't it? Or Pop Tree? There you go. Thank you, Delta.
Pop tree, yeah. Yeah,
It's a new genre.
I'm gonna give you the mic back, but Beyonce had one of the best music.
Fuck that guy. Oh, you want to talk about a piece of shit?
You know what though?
Jesus.
For as pompous as Kanye West is, he really is like a musical genius. And
Oh yeah,
feel
no,
like,
I will never deny his natural talent as a lyricist and as a music producer. The guy obviously knows what he's doing. He wouldn't have gotten as successful as he did had
all
he
I
not
know
been.
is I probably would fuck. Yeah, I know.
You and every other, like, come on.
I know you would fuck Kanye West. It's okay. I'd fuck him too for that money. Shit.
Hey, just feed him fish sticks and he's all yours, man.
I don't get it.
That does not make sense.
You know, do you know who's like, in my opinion, who is the most pompous fucking music artist in the world?
Tell me.
will.i.am.
Really?
Dude, do you know the controversy he got in with Daft Punk?
No.
Dude, they shut
Wait,
him
why that? Like, of
down.
all people, like, those guys don't talk to anyone.
They don't, but they don't fuck with anyone, so they don't get fucked with. So the second they got fucked with, they shut it. 103. Really? B-bots, man. Fuck. That's an inside joke. It's an inside joke. Sorry.
Right on.
Yeah. So will.i.am took a Daft Punk song. I can't think of what it is. I'm not super big into Daft Punk, but he took one of their songs and he remixed it. But literally said in the song, he was like, "That's right. This is a remix."
Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you for joining us here tonight for this episode of the Deadboy Lounge Horror News and Culture Podcast. We hope you enjoyed your time with us here. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Stay dead.
See y'all next week, everybody. I think it's so nice to have you. It's so nice of you to have this Make-A-Wish kid on your show. You can see his brain and body shutting down. Makes me sad.
Dude.
Holy fuck.
That's the sickest burn I've had in so long, dude. You can see his brain and body sitting down.
It makes me sad. Dead memes giving us the end of our YouTube video yet again.
Please post that shit on the fucking screen. Oh my god.
Someone clip that shit.